Hello out there, you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another What If discussion from me. And this time I'm going to be talking about what if Nintendo and EA's unprecedented partnership actually existed. See, there are some clues that show that that was possibly the case, and because we've all heard the rumors, it's not necessarily confirmed, but it makes logical sense that EA wanted to put Origin on the Wii U. They wanted to be the proprietary system that Nintendo used for their online services. Nintendo didn't want to do that because, I mean, in 2011, during E3, EA was talking up the Wii U like it was the best thing since sliced bread. And then the following year, when we find out that Nintendo didn't really want to put Origin on their system as their proprietary system, things kind of seem to fall to pieces. And games that were supposed to be released, like Crisis, didn't happen. So, it just bear with me here. Just hear me out on this. Now, if Nintendo and EA did go along with this partnership and EA did get to put Origin on the Wii U, oh gosh, this sounds horrible, but they get to put Origin on the Wii U, there would have been more EA games on the Wii U altogether. Like, just think about it. And again, just listen, hear me out. So, we all know that EA Access is on Xbox. Somehow, I believe that the plans were originally to put EA Access on the Wii U and have it as a Nintendo proprietary system for EA to run a membership service for their games. So, Xbox gets EA Access because Nintendo and EA fell out. So, we'll take that from Xbox. Nintendo gets it, and it's a part of the Wii U. It's a subscription service that's put on the Wii U within roughly the second year of the Wii U's life. Origin is the proprietary system for all their online services. And EA and Nintendo are buddy-buddy. They're good together. So that means that Nintendo ends up with games like UFC. They end up with Mirror's Edge. Alice. I think I would say both Alice games, Alice in Chains and Alice Returns to Madness. Is it Returns to Madness? I have a feeling those games would have ended up on the Wii U. And I could see better versions of the very faulty games that ended up on the Wii U. Those ports would have been much better. They would have been better handled. And there would have been consistent Madden, NBA Live, stuff of that nature on the Wii U. Like, there would have been a consistent round of sports games on it. Burnout, I could see making its way to the Wii U. Like, it's just, to me, there would be a slew of EA games that didn't go anywhere else. Well, that were on other platforms. And they would have made their way to the Wii U. It's just as simple as that. And it's something, again, that makes a good deal of sense. If you're partnered up with somebody and your partnership is strong, you're going to want to move your products with that partner. Just like they're going to want you to move your products with them. And they'll leave things open for you to do. There would have been a Crisis on the Wii U. Probably. I mean, if they were thinking, they would have probably put all three of them on it eventually, like done remastered versions of the original two for how the Wii U played. And honestly, I think that the Mass Effect trilogy would have actually made its way to the Wii U and not just the third game, which, while it was great for what it played as, it also lost out on a lot of stuff because you couldn't play the other games that had the branching and connected story paths, so you didn't get the full experience. And it's just like, I look back at it and it's just like, well, Nintendo wanted to do their own thing. They didn't want to be burdened or hog-tied to someone else, because that type of partnership, that's something that's for a company, that's like a marriage, and that's something that they'd have to be very willing to go into and know exactly what they're doing. Otherwise, yeah, they're just like, nah, we don't want to be married to you. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, you guys are cool and all. We can be friends, but we don't want to be tied to you. We don't want to be ball and chain to you guys. And I understand why Nintendo did it, but just looking forward, like looking back at it and then thinking of where it could have gone. This, I believe, would have also helped with other third parties, because they would have saw, hey, EA is a major third party and they're still releasing a lot of their games on the Wii U. They're releasing a lot of their games with Nintendo. Other third party developers would have looked at that, and they would have been like, well, VA's making money over there, we can too, and we can put some more of our heavier hitting titles on this platform. And I think, honestly, if that happened, there would have been a bunch of Star Wars games on the Wii U too. They would have gone back into what they had and been like, okay, Force Unleashed, we'll release the duology, put it out on the Wii U. Heck, we're doing a special edition of Jade Empire, we'll put that on the Wii U. We have Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, we'll put that on the Wii U. And I could see that would have been the path that would have been followed, because they would have been like, okay, how can we maximize profitability for this? And we can take all these older games and we can refresh them for this audience, because there are newer features that this console has that previous consoles didn't have and that they lacked. And on top of that, if we push it to push the games to do the best that they can on this system, like we actually took our time and developed properly for this, because that would essentially make EA a pseudo second party to Nintendo if they were working that closely together. Yeah, the EA would still have their products on other platforms, but they would have been working very closely with Nintendo, which would have possibly meant actually better games from EA. And if EA is working this closely with Nintendo, they're possibly going to be influenced by Nintendo, which would mean, to me, I think there's a possibility that EA Big might have come back, and we would have seen more specialized arcadey sports games that EA could put out. Again, this is me thinking about it and just logically trying to put together the pieces and seeing where they could fall. And something like EA Big would definitely be right up Nintendo's alley. And they would probably work with some of the more minor teams that EA has, trying to get their ideas out. And that could have been where Nintendo could have been the home for a lot of that. And a lot of stuff that people became afraid to try. So, again, to me, just looking at it in the overall, and then think about it, games like Dead Space would have made their way over to the Wii U. All these games that could have benefited from being put on that platform with the extra controls, the extra features, they would have found their way to the Wii U through EA. And EA has an extensive library of really good IPs. Some they've run into the ground, others not so much. But then, like, you think of a game like Battlefield would have been on the Wii U, or even Titanfall could have been on the Wii U. Again, just going back and looking at possibilities, there's a lot that could have been on this platform. A lot of games that would have benefited, would have been much better, and EA and Nintendo would have probably had a pretty decent relationship if Origin worked. If Origin didn't work, Nintendo would have been up EA's behind and been like, hey, you got to fix this. We can't have this on our platform, and we need to have our online services work for the most part. And as much as people like to say that Nintendo's online has been horrible, whenever I've played a game on a Nintendo platform, I have not had very many drops or misconnections. On other platforms, I have, especially on Sony. But that's my own personal experience. So it's not the same for everyone as much as people would like to believe it is. That aside, if Nintendo and EA had this partnership going and they were working together like that, we would probably be seeing the benefits of it even now, or even going into the Switch. And the Switch probably would have come out a year later. To be fully honest. I think if this partnership had gone through and it worked out and EA had put a bunch of their stuff on Nintendo's platform and they were more focused on Nintendo, and Nintendo would have ideally, based on gameplay perspectives, more than likely would have had the superior versions of a lot of games. Now, I'm not going to say it would have looked better than everything else, but at the same time, if you have the companies actually giving dedicated time and working on the platform, games would have looked better because they would have actually been trying to fully utilize the machine and not just taking the 360 game and roughly porting it over to the Wii U and calling it a day. They would have started with that, and then they would have been like, okay, what can we do to push this a little bit more, because this has to be as attractive as other third-party offerings, especially the ones coming from EA, because they're working closely with Nintendo. So yeah, Xbox One and PS4 would have definitely still come out, probably would have been the exact same machines that they were. They would have still been more powerful on paper than the Wii U. But we all know that Nintendo, with the way that they operate and work with things, they could have made their games, they make their games a lot better individually. And if EA was working in the same way with Nintendo, that Nintendo would be working on their hardware, they're working the same way, or at least close to that, there would have been much better third-party offerings on the Wii U. And indie scene wouldn't have basically taken over, and I mean, it would have still been big. The indie scene would have still been big, because I know for sure Nintendo was going into the Wii U like, we need to put more focus on indies because they're starting to blow up. But I could see them actually, putting that full effort into these games and be like, okay, so major third party studios would have done better on the Wii U because they would have actually put more effort into it had this gone through, at least from my personal analysis. And I think that's one of the linchpins that caused a lot of the issues, is because once that EA deal kind of fell under, it was like everybody else was like, well, then we don't have to put as much effort into it because we don't have anything that we have to compete against. We really don't have anything that we have to work hard to outshine outside of Nintendo, and that's not exactly going to be easy on a Nintendo platform. To be frank, that's just not going to be easy on a Nintendo platform. But if there's somebody working closely with Nintendo and they're really trying hard to put out the best product they can, you'd have competition. But, I mean, that's just the offhand analysis that I can give. I mean, there are a lot more factors that I can't see and I can't factor in because I'm not in the industry. But, like, this is just an outside perspective of what I think how things would have gone for the most part. I mean, I'm pretty sure we still would have ended up with the Switch. It might not have been the exact same machine, but the functionality probably would have been, for the most part, the same. It may have had more features, to be honest, and it could have gone, as long as EA got Origin to work, it could have been beneficial. But that's really it. I don't have a whole lot more to go on with this. It's just, that was one of the things I've been thinking about for a while, and I kind of just wanted to give an overall perspective on how I think it could have actually boiled down had things worked out better and EA became a major partner for Nintendo during the Wii U like they had planned to be. Because they were excited for the machine. I believe wholeheartedly that they actually did want to work closely with Nintendo, but they overplayed their hand and it didn't work out. But that's it. Thank you guys very much for joining. Give me your thoughts and opinions below. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out.